When the dice are in your hand and the stakes are high, every move, every roll, it's your time to fly. Practice like you play, put your heart in the fight. Play like you practice, every roll feels right. Roll to win, let the journey begin. Face the game with the champion's grin. Every step, every turn, it's the fire within. Roll to win, yeah, roll to win. From the tabletop dreams to the battles you chase, every critical moment, it's more than a race. Sharpen your skills, let the dice decide. With courage and will, you'll turn the tide. Roll to win, let the journey begin. Face the game with a champion's grin. Every step, every turn, it's the fire within. Roll to win, yeah, roll to win. Strategy's the key, but heart's the way. Level up your game, make the world your stage. Feel the thrill of the fight where the legends play. Practice and play, they're one and the same. Roll to win, where the story unfolds. The game's in your hands and the dice are gold. Practice like you play and the victory's clear. Roll to win, it's your time right here. Roll to win, let the journey begin. Face the game with a champion's grin. Every step, every turn, it's the fire within. Roll to win, yeah, roll to win. Roll to win. Roll to win, where the story unfolds. The game's in your hands and the dice are gold. Practice like you play, the victory's clear. Roll to win, it's your time right here.
All right, so Tony Leo, I can't express how much I appreciate you taking time out of your day and your evening and your busy schedule, and here we are on a Good Friday, actually.
Oh, that's right.
It is Good Friday to do this recording, and then hopefully it'll be on air in a couple of weeks, something like that, maybe a week and a half.
Good. Yeah,
I'll
that'll help both of us.
Oh yeah, and this will be on our Tales of the Table, where I've been trying to interview people who've been influential in the game, or people that I felt like were influential, that maybe some people I've interviewed nobody ever knew before. And then obviously there was Howard, who's passed away. There's been Avey. There's been a lot of other guys.
Yeah.
Dice coach, Bo Parker, partner of mine. We've done these interviews because I think it's just kind of cool to get it on video and have it out there so that it's there forever, unless YouTube goes away.
Yeah. I've seen some of those that you've done, and there are definitely people there that I've never heard of or seen, other than Bo and whatnot. But a lot of them I've never did hear of.
That was kind of the fun of it, was digging out people I knew of that. They've always been camera shy, so it's kind of fun to dig those out, bring them in. Some of them had a good time with it, and some of them come, rock stars
Yeah.
in the YouTube world all of a
Yeah.
sudden.
Oh, yeah.
So
There's a lot of them now.
yeah. So, but anyway, so all right, I know you're in Las Vegas, but where are you from originally?
Born Detroit, Michigan, 1953. Uh,
Okay.
so that's where my roots are. I still have cousins out there, and I try to get out there once in a while. I had a workshop out there a couple years ago, so that was nice. Got to see family at the same time, but that's it. Then moved to California. My dad got a job. He was an engineer, so he got a job in Southern California. So we moved there. I was like 6, so I pretty much grew up in Southern California.
Okay. So you've got the I don't know, the surf in you, right? Whatever. I'll say the 10-ton in you because he hangs out and used to
Oh
hang out
yeah,
in
he's
Southern
from Michigan
California.
as well. That's right. That's exactly right. Yeah, yeah. So, but uh, but anyway, yeah.
So what did you do? I got no idea about your background, so I'm just going to ask a question. For a living, I mean, I know you were in martial arts, but I don't know
Yep.
if that was something you made a
I
living
was.
at, or if that was something you did just to
No,
enjoy
no.
and part of your life.
Up until that time, I was just had sales positions. I was real good at sales, so I did. I opened up a few of my own businesses. I owned my own drilling company, my own oil and gas company for 5
Oh
years
wow,
called Gold Star Petroleum. I drilled over 100 wells in the state of Texas, and
wow.
I did that. I had my own drillers and geologists out there and all that, and I was doing that, Ed, when oil was $10 a barrel.
I
So
remember those days.
that's I was making a killing. It was unbelievable what we were doing. But anyway, I did that, and then coming to, when I came out here to Vegas, or prior to Vegas, then I did the karate school, and I did pretty much that while I was running my oil company at the same time. Okay, so and then in 1980 is when I opened my karate school, and I did that until 2000 for
Was your
20 years.
karate school in Vegas or was it
No,
somewhere else?
no, Southern California. I had 2 of them. I
Okay.
had one in Yorba Linda, California, and then one in Anaheim Hills, California. And so that was full time. I had instructors under me, but that was full time, along with running my oil and gas business.
I've got a grandson that's getting close to getting his black belt. They say he's got a test this weekend,
How old is he?
but he's 14.
Gotcha. Good for him.
So yeah, whether it's really a black belt or whether it's just another money grab by a karate class, that's kind of what I think
Well,
it
I'll
is.
give you my opinion on that. So,
Yeah, go ahead.
uh, I had probably the best kids class in Southern California, and in they earned every belt that they received. But when I started, I mean, it was kind of like you're going to be able to relate this to my gambling career. When I started my martial arts, there was like 4 karate schools in Southern California. I'm not LA, Southern California. LA, there was more. But I
Yeah.
was like an hour from LA in Huntington Beach. Is where I grew up. But there was like 4 karate schools there. Now, today, there's a million. There's 4 every block, just
Right.
like anywhere else in the country.
Yep.
And I decided to get out of the martial arts and close my school when it got to be too much about the quantity of how many students you have versus the quality of the students that you do have. So it was getting too commercialized for me. Little Johnny could be wearing a black belt at 10 years old, and things like that. They were actually selling then, not when I started, but later. You could actually walk in and purchase the black belt program. And I mean, how can you do that? It took me, I started in 72. I got my first black belt 5 years later in 77, which should have been about the average time, but not anymore. So
He's been he's been he's been in karate since he was 9.
that's good. Good for him. Good for him.
So you know.
So yeah, I mean, 14's, if you've been in it that long, that's fine. But you know, today it's just a little bit more commercialized. That's why I
That's the
never
way.
kept doing it.
That's exactly the way I feel about it. I kind of laugh at what his mom and dad are, you know. I mean, it's just constantly forking out money, and I'm like, don't y'all understand that they are yanking your chain because they want to put him in another program? That's great, but that other program cost you additional money.
Oh yeah, we had
Yeah,
you know,
I mean,
we do our testing, promote these kids to yellow belt, blue belt, green belt. But back then there was only so many belts. Now you got an
yeah.
orange belt with 5 stripes. Yeah, I mean it goes, and every time these kids test, they're paying that test fee.
Oh yeah,
And you
yeah,
know, so it's just a little different, and you know, there it is. But
yeah, yeah.
that was a great chapter in my life.
Well, do you still? I don't even know how to phrase it because I know nothing about martial arts or karate.
Do I
I
still
watched
do it? Do I
I
still do it?
watched I watched kung fu as a child. That was about it. I
There you
mean, you
go.
know.
David
So,
Carradine.
yep. And that wasn't karate. That was something else.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
um, do you still? I don't know. I'm not going to say practice
Yeah,
karate, but I mean, there's a lot of self discipline that instills into a person. There's some physical fitness obviously involved. Do you still participate in the I don't know if you want to call them
yeah, I
exercises
do.
or
Yeah, at my home here, and one of my garages is kind of set up like a karate school. It's got the mirrors on the wall, and it's got my weights, obviously, but then it's got the heavy bag and stretch rail and different things like that. So yeah, I still do work on self defense and my bag work. Uh, but now I've incorporated, you know, more maybe lifting weights and push ups and sit ups and all that versus
just
all that. But I
kind of the
still
physical
stretch and
fitness aspect?
yeah, you got to do it. I mean, I don't do the other aspects that I did then. Like I trained in all the weapons. I was proficient in all the Okinawan weapons because that was the roots. I don't touch them anymore, but and I don't fight anymore with anybody. So everything I do now is just pretty much solo and bag work and you know practicing where I hit and how I hit, you know, type of thing. That's all.
That takes a lot of discipline just to get up and go do that, doesn't it?
Oh yeah.
Because I'm going to tell you, I hate working out.
Yeah. It's
I despise it. I don't, so I don't do it
no,
because I
no,
hate it.
that's fine. There's a lot of people like that. It's just, how old are you? I'm 72. You're younger.
I'm, I'm 65.
Yeah, so you're still a baby.
Yeah, I'm still a youngin.
But
I'm still,
but yeah, it's just in my blood because I've been doing it for so long, and the benefits that I received from it as a person, you know, really made a difference in where I went in life. I could have went one way or the other. I went the other. You know, I went
right.
the right way. So
I think that's true of a lot of people. I mean, we all have these, I call them forks in the road, or, I mean, that's almost too easy to say, but I say life has currents, just like a river. And you've got to choose those forks in those rivers that give you the best current for your life.
sure, absolutely,
I don't know if that
absolutely.
makes sense or not, but I
Oh
just
yeah.
kind of
Oh
always
yeah. That
thought about
totally
it
makes
that way.
sense. And then the discipline there obviously is how I got the discipline to do what I'm doing now. And so it just crossed right over.
Well, yeah, I mean, I mean, you live in Las Vegas and you cannot live in Las Vegas and play any game, whatever it is, as if you were a tourist. You've got to play with an extreme amount of discipline.
Oh yeah.
I think you call it the method. Is that right?
Say that again.
Do you call it the method instead of a strategy or whatever? You have methods that you play.
Well, yeah, yeah. I mean, I call myself a method gambler, meaning I
Okay.
do follow a plan, a method, a strategy, whatever anybody wants to call it. Yes. So I do that
So I don't know if we're jumping the gun, but how long have you lived in Las Vegas now?
since 2001.
That's a long time to
I
live in
moved
Sin
out here
City,
to,
dude.
well, see, I had planned it. I mean, my 2 boys who are now, what are they? 42 and 39, back then, they knew Dad was moving to Las Vegas when they turned 18. So they already
Okay.
knew that. I already knew that. Okay. I knew the direction I wanted to go, because at the time I was already into gambling and whatnot. So I knew the direction I wanted to go. And even when, even during my karate career, there was a tournament out here in Las Vegas every weekend, every weekend. So back then we had those junkets that for whatever it was, $50 or something, we'd leave from Orange County Airport, land into Las Vegas, they'd bus us to the Riviera, and we'd spend the day there, you know, gambling and eating and everything, get back on it either that night or the next day. So I was constantly doing that. So, I mean, even when I was running my karate schools, I was coming out here 10 days a month to gamble. Let me close these blinds that I'm getting a little.
Yeah, go right ahead.
Let me get out. All right. How's
Perfect.
that? Still okay?
That's better. Yeah, you don't have
okay.
that. You don't have that bright light coming in on you now. So
So I
that's
was
great.
still coming out here 10 days a month to gamble. So I knew that, you know, when my kids were 18, I was moving out here.
So when you started coming out, I mean, you've lived there, what, 24 years?
Right.
So before that, you were just flying in, flying out.
Yes, that's correct.
What did you like to do back in the day before you moved there? What did you like to do, and what was it like for you? Because you mentioned the Riviera, and that's been long gone.
You talking about gambling? Is that what?
Yeah.
Okay. So I was on a blackjack team. I learned how to play blackjack by a man by the name of John Rephart, who was the first one to show Las Vegas that he could beat the shoe game. When it came out, it had 4 decks, the 4-deck shoe game.
Right.
So I learned his method. We formed a team. There was 5 of us from the Southern California area, and we played at the Riviera. I mean, that's what we did. And as far as craps, one of the guys on my blackjack team introduced me to the game of craps. So, but I never threw the dice all those years. I played the don't, and that's it. I passed the dice when they came to me. I never shot. I never shot dice until I moved here and had my table set up in my living room.
But there was something that attracted you to craps, right?
It was the action then.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of action, right?
It was
Okay,
the-
go
it
ahead.
was totally the
Talk to me
action.
about talk to me about that. The action that attracted you?
It was just the screaming and the yelling, and you know, you didn't really do that at the blackjack table. So
Oh no,
so
yeah,
I said, all right, I want to see what this is all about. And I mean, just me being who I am, I just thought, I could do that. Yeah, I could do that. So
yeah.
and that's how it started. And then obviously what got me into the actual dice setting was, I mean, there was only 2 people that I had heard of at that point, and that was Dominator and Bo, and that was it.
Yeah.
I didn't hear of anybody else. If they were out there, I didn't know of them. And then just you know, reading the books, and I don't really even think there was that much on the internet at that time. I don't really remember. But when I got my table delivered, a student of mine got it for me from the Flamingo. So it was I paid $1,200 for it, and the rails on it were that red. They were ripped and stuff, so I had to put new rails on it, and obviously new felt and whatnot. But that's where I got it. And then when it got delivered and set up, I was just simply standing there looking at, from stick right, just right there to the immediate back wall right there. And I just said, you know, how do these guys keep it on axis? And then from there, it just took off. I just said, you know, here we go.
You know, on axis is back in the early 2000s. I mean, everything was still at that time really basically in its infancy. I mean, it kind of started in the 1990s a little bit, but people were still trying to figure it out. And everybody I've talked to, and I've played crap since 1993. So, 1990, yeah, February 1993. That was a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And so, even, you know, and I had an engineering background back then. So, but
Were you setting the dice then, or just playing?
back then, early 90s like that, I really, probably was setting the dice and trying to, because mentally I felt like there's got to be a way
Right.
to get similar results time after time.
Uh-huh.
That's the way I always approach the game. There's got to be a way.
Uh-huh.
If you can do the same, mechanically over and over, if you can do the same thing, I always felt like that. In fact, the first time I played craps ever, I mean, I remember specifically getting backed off twice on the very first week I ever played craps, and that was in Tahoe. They said you can't do what you're doing.
In
Whatever I was doing.
1993, huh? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So, but I would not call that influence. I was still trying to just do the same thing over and over and over and over
Right.
and trying to do it consistently, because I felt like at that time maybe I get similar results.
Uh-huh.
That was kind of how I eventually gravitated into the dice influence world.
Right.
I don't buy the dice control piece of it, because you can't call a shot anymore.
We can't. We get
If
lucky
you had a
once in
flat
a while,
wall
but
back
that's
there,
it.
maybe you could.
Mhm.
Even though all of the super slow-mo, and I've got some old black and white slow-mos from the early 2000s that guys shot. The majority of the violence always appears to me to be between landing and the wall. The wall, I think, has less effect, based on what I've seen, than the pyramids do. Now, the casino put those pyramids up there for a reason. That was to give them, if they're not hitting them square. But if you think about it, those pyramids at 45-degree angles, which make a 90. Each 45 is a 90. Your dice are the 90. So if they hit in there perfect, or if they hit that point perfect, there's no real effect from the wall. It's more what's happening between landing and that pyramid.
Yeah. Yeah. You're absolutely right. Yeah. So, yeah. You.
So then how did you get into the DI world of this?
So going back to when I wasn't a DI and we were playing the don't, we played. I play actually the same way today if I'm playing the don't side. We played the don't pass, the 6 and 8, and the don't come. But 3 independent bets. I never said, well, I made 50 here and 120 here, but lost 50 over here and blah, blah, blah. I played each a separate entity. So on the don't pass, for example, we had 7 levels of betting. I'm using a level up like I normally do. Okay. So we would wait for that shooter to throw 3 passes before we jumped on. And by going 7 levels, well, they told me that at that time, that was 1,000 to 1 against a shooter shooting 10 passes. Okay, fine. So that's why we did that. And then whenever the point was established, we placed the 6 and the 8. Okay. And at that time, there was not really any dice setters. So we played the 6 and the 8 just for 1 or 2 hits and took it down. Then we would wait for 6 rolls to be rolled from beginning before we made a don't come bet. Obviously, because, 7's supposed to come out every whatever. So that's why we waited. So
it was kind of it was a mathematical play in many ways right there.
That's right. Exactly. So by waiting for 3 passes on the don't pass, we had a mathematical edge. By pulling our bets off the 6 and 8, we had a mathematical edge. And by waiting for 6 rolls before we placed the don't come, supposedly we had a little mathematical edge. So that's what we did. And each one was qualified different. Today, I make that same 6 and 8 bet. But if the guy's just chucking them and he's a random shooter, I'm just going to take 1 hit and take it down, and I'm done with it. I'm just waiting for my don't come bet now to qualify. So to get back to the DI part, I use the same methods like today. In other words, today if I do my 6-8 set or on my 6-8 method, I have 5 levels I can go up, level up on that, okay? I did that playing random as well, but I based it on a per shooter. So now I say to myself, well, I'm not going to go 0.7 out 5 times without throwing 1, 6, or 8. But back then I'd say, well, it's not going to go 5 shooters that all 0.7 out before they throw a 6 or 8. So I actually took those same methods and brought them to the DI side, only I restructured it, quite a bit differently. But that's how that happened. But anyway.
So do you spend a lot of time trying to, I'm going to put quotes around this, influence the dice when you toss it? I mean, are you trying to
Yeah.
hit the same number? To me, DI is kind of like you may be hitting 5s and 8s predominantly, and then 2 hours later, if you're still playing, you might be hitting 4s and 9s. I mean, whatever it is. I mean, you're not ever getting the same over and over and over.
No,
because
absolutely.
it changes. But as a DI, you're looking to try to find a situation where you're getting more and more of the same numbers over and over.
Yeah,
from my standpoint.
No, exactly. When doing what we do, we concentrate on 2 main things. Number one, obviously, when we're shooting, our signature number, the number we're throwing more than any other number.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And then I also look at what we call the dominant momentum. That's whether you're 1 dominant or 6 dominant. Okay, because that gives me the press range. In other words, if I'm 1 dominant, even though I'm placing the 6 and 8, now if I'm 1 dominant, I'm going to be pressing my 4 and 5 and 6 because 1 3, 1 4, or 1 5. Okay, if it's 6 dominant, then no matter what I'm placing, I'll press those numbers. Okay, the 8, 9, or 10. So I look at
uptown versus downtown on I got you.
Is that what it is? Is that who said that?
I don't know. That's just what I call it.
Yeah,
I mean, 8, 9, 10. That's uptown.
Yeah.
4, 5, 6 is downtown.
Yeah. So those are basically my indicators. And as far as throwing numbers back to back, you get that anyways. If you're doing the same thing all the time, if you're doing the same set, grip, focus, your follow through, your landing zone, if all that's the same, you're going to get a lot of back to backs, no matter who you are. Okay, I mean, we get a lot of back to backs. It could be a 4-1 and a 4-1 or whatever. But primarily, the signature number is where we press, and our dominant momentum is where we press, and that's the secret. Is by seeing our 1s and 6s.
So, I mean, there's no secret. You are a teacher in this game, and you have a very loyal following.
Yeah, I do. I mean, you either believe in what we do or you don't. It's like that, So it's not easy. What I do is not easy.
I don't think what any of us do is easy, but I mean, I know that Tony Leo has a very loyal following.
Yeah, thank you.
And I've met. No, I haven't really met them, but I've
played with them.
You meet them. So a few of them, but I mean, you know them over the internet.
Exactly.
I know that you've got a lot of loyal people, and I've got to play with a few of them. I have.
Good.
So do you teach particular sets, or how do you go about that with a student, for example? I mean, trying to find something that's going to give them box numbers or numbers, not 7s, because you don't in your way of your method is the field is fine, right? So we just don't want a 7 necessarily if we got a long hand going.
So nobody wants a 7,
I know,
but we look at it different than a lot of players do as well, because when we're hopping, we can hop the 7, we can get paid on the 7. And the fact is that because of the way what we're looking for, when we 7 out, 80% of those 7s are going to be the 6-1. Okay. So, because I mean, if for example, if we're doing a Hardway set like I explained in one of my videos, the 1 and the 6 for me is on the off axis. So if I see a 1 or a 6, we're not going to throw that 5, 2, 4, 3. It's impossible. But I could do
Right.
the, but I could get the 6, 1, and that's what happens. So,
Right.
but teaching the students, it's kind of funny because I use the Hardway set, and I look at the Hardway set differently than a lot of people do. And everybody knows what the Hardway set is. So when somebody comes in, I'll just simply say, well, let's shoot. Let me see what you got. What set you going to use? All right, the Hardway set. Go ahead. And they'll throw, and I'll just lay them all out like I do, and I'll say, well,
Yeah.
what do you see there? What are you doing? And they have no idea that what they did was actually throw off axis the majority of their shots and had a 6 or a 1 on one of their dice, which now opens up for us the horn, the hops, and the field. So
Right.
and then they just look at it differently, and they can take.
Well, if they can just throw a 1 or a 6, they're not going to throw a 7 on that set.
That's right. Exactly.
So I tell a lot of beginners to start there because their mechanics are different. Their mechanics are not consistent.
Mm-hmm.
And they're probably going to have more off-axis tosses than they are on
Right.
axis.
Right.
Eventually, they're going to get lucky or unlucky and have that double
that's
pitch.
everybody. Yep.
Yeah, they're going to have that double pitch 5, 2, 2, 5, 3, 4, 4, 3, whatever. Yeah. So, all right. So I agree with you that the newer the student, and I don't mean to put words in your mouth, but I would say the newer the student, the Hardway set's probably the best set to start with. And I think that's what most of us always end up starting with.
Yeah,
anyway.
I still use it today. That's one of my main sets for going off axis. Now, if I'm trying to stay on axis, I'll use a different set. So something where the 6 is like a 2-1, 2-1, or a 5-6, 3-6, something like that. Now I just throw them to stay on axis, and I still want to see the 1 or the 6. That doesn't change whether I'm shooting for off-axis results or on-axis results. I'm still looking for the 1 or the 6.
Okay, so you're looking for either a field play or a horn play.
And let the box and I let the box numbers fall where they will.
You're still mentally thinking of, I got 3 separate bets out there, and they each stand on their own. Am I right?
Yeah, yes. If I play that way, that's correct. Because sometimes, for example, my go-to game is the 6-8 in the field. Okay, and I'll start out with a $30.
I do that a lot, by the way.
All right. So, but I play it different. That's all. Okay. So I'll start out with a $30 6 and 8, and a quarter in the field, which means obviously if I hit the 6, I only make $10 if that field is tied into that. Right.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
But if my first 2 rolls are, let's say my first 3 rolls are a 6, 8, and a 5. Well, on those 3 rolls, I lost that field bet, but I still put $10 in my rack, right?
Yeah. On the 6-8, are you betting the 5 as well?
Well,
like
let's
the
just
traditional?
say, no, I'm not betting the 5 yet. But let's just say, so I'm only winning $10. But if I see those 3 losses on that field, now I'll break away and play it independently. Now I'm going 7 on it. So for me not to throw a field, I have to throw 10 times. It's very seldom that's going to ever happen. So
that's almost impossible.
I'm not saying that, but when we're trying to roll a 1 or a 6, there's a lot of 2s and 12s and 3. I mean, you got a lot of ammo there, is how I look at it. So that's why it works for us, and that way it's different.
I'm just trying to kind of
so now I am
absorb what you're saying. So,
yeah. So now if I break away from it on my next 6, I'm going to put the whole $35 in my rack, but I'm going to level 2 now on my field. So instead of a quarter bet, I'm maybe going to 75. You follow me?
That's a big jump. All right. So level 1 is a quarter.
Level 2 might be 75. That's it.
Okay.
There's 7 levels. It's going to be
that's a
five.
lot of.
It's going to
All
be,
right, we got.
it's going to be 47, 48, 4,900, something like that. Okay.
Okay.
So, but you know, I don't forget when I play, when you said your signature numbers and things like that will change, you're absolutely right, but I'm not there very seldom past 45 minutes.
Right.
I don't really get to see all those changes. I'm making my money on what I'm doing. Obviously, if something changes from my ones and now I'm throwing sixes, I got to do something. But
Yeah.
normally everything works out, that way.
Within that short window of time, you've got that pocket of numbers that you're tossing.
Yeah, and I almost have to walk into throwing really bad to get hit, because even if I throw 3 times, 2 times, the dice come back to me, and then
Mm-hmm.
I'm at level 2. No big deal. I expect to go to level 2 when I play. That doesn't bother me in the least. So because when I go up a level, I'm also making more reward for that level as well. I'm not just making $10 anymore, so
Right.
I mean, that kind of thing. So, I mean, for example, if I win level 7 on any of them, I'm putting a couple $100 in my rack, right away. So,
And is level 7 your cutoff?
yeah, that's where I lose
Don't
my
go.
bankroll.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
My
then you're
my
done.
buy-in, not
Yeah.
my bankroll.
Yeah. I know you're buying.
Yeah,
Yeah. People confuse that. I mean, there's a bankroll and then
mhm,
there's the buy-in.
that's right. And
And
my
so,
my my bankroll consists of 3 buy-ins.
okay.
So my craps bankroll right now is 21,000. I have 3 banks of 7,000. So, and I just raised that in January. It was 18 before that.
I'm surprised it's that low. I'll be honest with you.
My goal is only 20%. So even on a
Mm.
5,000 buy, my goal is 1,000 for that period of time.
And then you're out the door.
I'm out the door, but I might be out the door at 500. If I'll evaluate, my game, my role. So for example, if I'm at $500 and that's my profit thus far, I take a check on my game here. For example, if I had to go to level 4 on my 6 and 8, I have 5 levels. So if I get up to level 4 a couple of times, I'm going to take my 500 and I'm going to go home. Now, if I've only
Yeah.
gone to level 3 and I hit it and back to level 1, level 2, back to level 1, like that, I'm going to go for the 1,000. Okay. So then when I hit that, I evaluate it again. Am I on a good roll or just, call it a day? So,
So do I dare ask, and you don't have to answer
go
this.
ahead.
You mentioned starting with a $30 6 and 8. That's level 1.
Level 2, 78. Level 3 is 216 each.
That's a pretty good chunk of change for the average player.
Level 5 is almost 1,800 each. People don't want to
I
do
like those. I like those $2,100 payouts, but Lord have mercy,
it. So
that's a big number. That's a big number because you have just quote unquote failed or lost, whatever you want to call it. Okay, I've just failed 4 times, 5 times, whatever you just said. Now I'm putting $3,600 on the table.
Sure.
And I'm probably just about shot my buy-in at that
Yeah.
point.
That's you did. I mean, yeah, just about. Yeah. I mean, yeah. If you did that, you're not going to continue on with whatever money you have. Yes. So you're going
If
to.
I would be at the point right there if I got a hit. I'm just thinking this through. I just put $3,600 out there. I've got almost nothing left in my rack because I've lost to get to that point.
You're right.
Right. So I got $3,600 on there and I hit that for 2,100. That's a $500 win on that. I'm either dropping it immediately to 30 or I'm just like going, let the next guy shoot whenever he shows up. I'm out of here.
So when you shoot, do you see it possible, or how many times possible, just you shooting, that you're going to go 0.7 out 5 times without 1.6 or 1.8?
It's very rare.
So how many times?
I'm not going to say it can't happen. I'm not going to say it can't happen because it can happen.
But if you played for
Um,
30 days, what do you think? How many times would you lose it or not lose it?
not many.
Once?
Not ma- I mean, I could say 3 times, and I would still be in pretty good shape.
Okay. Let's take that 3
Right?
times. All right.
Yeah.
I'll explain to you my 27. It's called 27 and 3 strictly business plan. All right. For craps. Now, I
Yeah.
haven't proved it on other games, but I have proved it on craps. So let's say, uh, for example, my buy-in's 5,000. That means
Uh-huh.
I have 15,000. I have 3 buy-ins, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So I buy in for the 5,000. My goal is $1,000. That's 20%. All right. So let's say I win that 1,027 days out of the month.
Right.
That's 27,000. But I
Correct.
lost one time every 10 days. That would be my 3 bankrolls. I lost 15. Okay. But I won 27. I'm still up $9,000 for the month, which is an 80% return ROI on your money.
Yeah.
So let's take that down a notch. Let's say my buy-in's only 1,000. That means I have $3,000. On that
Yeah.
1,000, 20% a day would be, let's see, what would that be? On that 200. So you're making 200 times 27 days is $5,400. If you lost your 3 banks, that would be minus the 3,000. You're still up 2,400 for the month, which is 80% ROI. Okay. When you make money, we're above the 20. I mean, we're above it. Sometimes we're 30, 40%, whatnot. But that's pretty much how we do it. And I'm basing that on losing that bankroll 3 times. And I've
All
not
right.
done
So
that. I've not done that.
you've not lost it 3 times.
I've never had a losing month. I've had
I
losing
got you.
days.
Okay. Oh
And
yeah.
I've had a losing days.
If you didn't, I'd call you a liar. If you said you didn't have a losing day, I'd call
Oh
you a
no.
liar.
Oh no, no. I mean, I mean, there were some times where I had 2 in the same week, but it just prevailed. I mean, I just, did my thing and it just came out to work good.
So it brings up. I mean, I got so many questions. I done forgot some of the
That's all
questions I had.
right.
You and I both deal with a lot of what I'm just going, and there's no derogatory term by this, but I'm just going to call blue collar folks, right? So they may go to a casino. It could be a weekend. It could be to Vegas. It could be where I go in Biloxi or whatever. And they take this number, whatever fits in those hands there. I mean, it's like, all right, so let's just assume for a moment that they take $6,000, which is probably a stretch for most blue collar players. So they've got 3 sessions of $2,000 apiece, right?
And they're here for the weekend.
And yeah, their room's right up above the damn casino floor.
Okay.
So, they're kind of stuck there. That's the problem. That's really the problem. That's where the casinos get you is, they give you the free rooms, the free food, and you go in there at 6 o'clock in the morning and you make your 20% on your buy-in.
But you're not done yet.
But you got another 20 hours
I know
to play. I mean, that's the problem.
That's a big problem. That's a big, big problem. And my guys all know that. I mean, they're flying. You're coming out from Alabama. You got to pay airfare. You got to, do this, do that. You're here for a specific period of time. It's very hard to do what I do under those circumstances.
Right.
Because first of all, how are you going to you're not going to find an empty table on a Saturday. Not on the strip for the most part, maybe once in a while, but I can get it at will on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So,
sure.
I mean, even at 12 noon, I can get it at Red Rock.
So,
yeah.
I was out there at Red Rock in early March, mid-morning. One person was on the table besides me and the guy I went with. One table open and only one person playing.
They have one table open until noon. At noon, they open up the other ones. So,
okay.
But yeah.
Yeah. So we got there 10:30, 11 o'clock, something like that.
Yeah. But that's where I live right in between there and Durango. Actually, I'm 5 minutes to Durango. I'm 10 minutes to Red Rock. So those I'll play there, and then if I feel like getting paid triple on the 12, I'll go down to the Palms, and
I like the Palms. I
that's
do
pretty
like the
much it. If
Palms.
once in a while, if I got guys in town or something, maybe depending on where they're at, I don't mind playing. I also, play Bellagio, Aria, Plaza downtown. That's about it.
I would say you got to be picky. If you live there, you've got to be real picky about where you play and when you play.
Oh, totally.
Because us tourists, when we fly in, I call myself being picky, and I am picky about where I'll play,
Mhm.
but I play too much, or I play more than most people should.
Gotcha.
Now, I don't have a problem ever walking away from a table.
Right.
I don't care if the next guy throws 57 times. I was done at that point.
Yeah, no, I don't have a hard time either. Yeah, leave it the game.
So, I just know, okay, the whatever it is, call it juju, the jive at the table, the whatever you want to call it, it wasn't working. I'm out of here.
I even do
And
that. I even do that with groups, even if I'm not shooting the
oh
dice.
yeah,
And I hit my 20%, I'm out there. Then where you going, Tony? I'm done. So
there you go.
yeah, but
Do
anyway,
you play? Do you play a lot with groups?
no, I don't play at all with groups. Very seldom, and uh, just with my guys primarily. Today's Friday. Next Wednesday, I got a few guys come in. I got Corey. Corey will be here. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
uh, let's see, Slang. That's Mike Rolacek. Larry Frank, Magic Aces, and
Yeah.
then Corey and myself, and maybe 10-ton. I talked to Fran. I talked to him yet. I talked to him yesterday. So
Good luck with that.
well, he called me. He calls me. I haven't talked to him in a while. Every time we talk, we're going to lunch. So when you guys get on your little podcast, you could tell him this. But yeah, he called me. He called me yesterday. He said, Tony, he says, I'm starting to read my rolls and I see the hops. I'm going, okay, you see the hops. He says, I got to get on this hop game. I said, all right, well, just come over. He hadn't come over yet, but I invited him for Wednesday with the other guys. So we'll see what happens. But anyway.
We recorded last night
Oh, did
actually,
you?
and
Yeah.
and we were talking a little bit about how he was seeing some hops that he was doing.
Right.
He's still learning, and of course, hops is a one shot deal, right?
Yeah.
That's why it pays well.
Yep. It's a one roll bet.
We were interviewing, and you'll like this, I think, because we were interviewing Dave Carlin from Same Bet, and you know him. I mean, you were on it last night.
Oh, no
last
shit.
night.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. He's going to be out here, I think, next month sometime.
I think he said that.
Yeah.
And so he'll be on our podcast. I don't know, whenever, next couple, 3 weeks, probably.
Good.
So we brought him in to talk about Kansas City and his area. We've been trying to pick up some guys that were different locations than just Vegas or just where I play.
Right.
Just bring some other intel in to what the games are like in different parts of the country. We need to get some Colorado folk in, and maybe even some Pacific Northwest in.
Right.
I don't know. There's apparently a lot of people up there that play.
Yeah.
Primarily Indian casinos, I think. But I play in Biloxi more than anywhere, and there's one of every major corporate casino there. Plus, where I play is the Hard Rock, and I always stay at the Hard Rock, but it's not the Seminoles that own that one.
Ah, what is it? Who is it?
It's actually what, again, I'm old school, but I'm going to call it the New Bally's, because there's a New Bally's Corporation.
Right.
That was pulled out of the Caesars deal. They actually own it.
Gotcha.
And so I play there. That's my main place. And they don't even have any bonus bets. They have nothing other than hot bets except on the Crapless table. There's no hot bets on their crapless. And that's it. So it's
Yeah.
just pure. It's just pure. Go out there and play craps and win money, or try to win money. Right.
I would like
So,
that. I'm not really a bonus bet guy anyways. I'll use the hops as my bonus bet, you know.
I don't do that enough, but I enjoy playing on a table with an ATS. I play it. I don't play it like 10 Ton does.
Right.
I mean, he'll go like 100, 100, 100 or whatever.
I got all my guys on that play Atlantic City. That's all they do is they concentrate on those the all small, all tall. That's it.
Well, I tell everybody, and it's just my opinion, and I can be as right or wrong as anybody, is you make your living hitting box numbers.
Yeah.
And the bonus bet is exactly that. It's a bonus bet.
I agree.
And so I tell people you play more on the small and the tall than you do on the all, because you're more likely, quote unquote, more likely if you're going to hit something, you're going to hit a side.
Right.
So I want that side to pay me.
Right.
So even if it's instead of 5, it needs to be 10, or instead of 10, it needs to be quarters.
Right.
Whatever. Right. But whatever your bankroll allows, it's still a side bet. It's still a bonus bet. You better know how to bet those box numbers if you're going to make some money.
Right. Exactly.
Even though I think you and I would bet them probably totally different.
The box numbers?
Yeah, probably.
You mean increments of betting? Is that what
probably?
You mean? So,
yeah, I mean, probably we would bet them totally different.
I'm not a big presser by no means. I use a very simple collect and press. I mean, I might go up on my $30 6 and 8, $12 to get it to 42 to get paid 49. So now I still make a quarter in my field or whatnot. But I don't go up 4 or 5 times. I don't do that.
See, I'm the opposite. I mean, I will go.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm a conservative presser. So,
but at the same time,
go ahead.
And I'm not trying to defend myself, because it's just what I do. But I mean, when I'm in my presses, there is collection.
Sure.
So I don't want to just max press or whatever. On occasion, some of those moves, I've got a power press, but that's because I just collected.
Right.
The whole
thing. Yeah. So here's the thing: when we collected press, whatever we collected, we press every dollar of it. So we don't put nothing in the rack. So if it's whatever it is, it's used someplace. But if I collect, I don't know, whatever, $90, I won't put the 90 on something. I'd rather go look at my dominant momentum and put a quarter on 3 numbers, maybe. It depends. And heavier on my signature number. But I'm not, I just don't do that. Probably for the reason that if I 7 out, I still get the dice again. Maybe that has something to do with it, So
well, you're there by yourself.
Yes. Yes. Or one other player.
Which, you give me a table that's got 8 people on it, and you give me a table that's empty, I'm going straight to the empty table every time.
Of course. A lot of people don't like to play like that. I love to play like that.
That's like like playing right here at home. I mean, I don't play with anybody at home. I just play by myself. So that's for me. You can't get any better than having a totally empty table.
But that's the difference between Vegas and other parts of the country. Here, I have that capability to do that. You don't really get that capability every day of the week in other areas of the country. So,
yeah, I mean, you got to play certain hours.
That's right.
You got to be willing to go to bed early and get up early.
Yeah.
If you want want that advantage. We had an old guy that I played with, and he was, I'm not even sure how old he was. He was from Kentucky.
Gotcha.
His name was, he was Charlie G. That was his name.
Charlie
And
G.
he would come down to Biloxi during the winter. So he would get away from the cold and the snow or whatever in Kentucky and come down to Biloxi.
Gotcha.
And he would literally live in like 2, maybe 3, but basically 2 casinos for maybe 3 or 4 months.
Yep.
All the time.
I'm sure there's quite a few people that do that.
And he would just, he would bounce from this one from 3 days, from 3 free nights to 4 free nights over here, and then come back for the next place. I mean, just back and forth, back and forth. And he was one of the most disciplined players.
Well, I would think you'd have to be able to do that.
I've never seen anybody with his discipline.
Right.
Because I would go down and meet him down there in the middle of the week when it wasn't crowded, and we would play for 3 or 4 days. And I would be getting the dice, or I would be in the middle of a roll, and he'd be coloring up in the middle of my roll.
Did you ever ask him, what are you doing, Charlie?
Yeah, he's like, I'm here for 4 months. I just hit my win goal, dude. Bye.
He couldn't wait till your roll was over?
Yeah, no, he's like, I'm going to sit over here. I mean, he would turn his bets off. He would color up.
Gosh,
I mean, he was super disciplined in what he did. And that's what so many people miss in this game.
Right.
Time at the table is your enemy.
Totally.
And they don't have the discipline.
That's right.
And I fail at the discipline, and I fail at the time at the table. I fail at all of them because I play a lot. But discipline, you cannot escape the need for discipline on your bankroll.
No, that's right. Exactly. No. So
do you play a lot of Crapless?
No.
At all?
Yeah, at all, but not a lot.
Not much.
Every once in a while, I'll go to Red Rock and the regular table might be full, but there's nobody on the Crapless. So then at that point I might go over there. But then I know other people are going to come because it's crowded. So I know they're going to be there, so I'll play differently. So I might not be using a level up. I might be doing a same bet, a couple of times or whatnot. So it just depends.
Yeah, it's interesting to me that from what I've seen in Las Vegas, that Crapless is barely catching on. Same thing in Atlantic City. And where I'm at, half the tables are Crapless, if not more than half.
Wow. Yeah, it's it is different. So
I was in Tunica last weekend, which is just south of Memphis. And Tunica used to be like the greatest gambling town east of them. It was bigger than, as far as gamblers and popularity and all. It was bigger than Atlantic City back in the day.
All right.
Horseshoe Casino. They got 5 tables. 5 tables are open. 3 of them are Crapless.
Wow. Yeah. So no, they don't.
And next door, basically the same thing. Half or slightly over half are Crapless. People down here love Crapless.
I don't think there's a casino out here, maybe that has more than 1 Crapless table. I don't think there's any that have 2. I don't know.
I mean, Aria might, but I don't really play Aria. I've been in it, so it might have more than 1. Probably got 2. It's probably got 2. Bellagio, maybe.
I've only seen 1 over there, but maybe.
I say maybe.
The ones
I know Cromwell's got 1.
The ones I play at only have 1.
Cromwell's got 1. Trying to think. Paris, I know they got 1. I'm not sure if they've got 2.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't really play down there.
So Crapless is really popular down here in the deep South.
Right.
Of course, it started. A lot of people don't know this. It really got its base going out of New Orleans.
No shit. I didn't know that either.
And then when it hit Tunica, you had all of these people coming in out of Memphis, and they loved the 12-12. You mentioned that earlier. And so they were practicing all the time trying to throw 12s because it paid triple.
Good luck.
Right?
Yeah.
And so then all of a sudden, you've got tables that you got an all-day 12. You got an all-day 2. You got an all-day 11. You got an all-day 3. And it's just, and the way different people, I sit back there and I go, how did they figure out how to bet the way they do? You know, because everybody's on extremes.
Right.
And they may not be on anything else, but maybe a 6 or 8.
Yeah.
But they're using a 6 and 8, and all they're doing is feeding it outside. They're just going, yeah,
Yeah.
10,
I play the
4.
crapless. I place the, what do I do? The 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, and the 10, 11, 12. That's
Yeah.
it. The 6 bets, and I have 4 levels. So
Yeah.
again, I have to go 0.7 out 4 times without throwing 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, 11, or 12. And because we're in essence setting our dice for those because we want a 1 or a 6, we're going to get more of those 2, 3, 4s, 10, you know, da da da. So,
Yeah.
but again, I don't do it enough to do it. And anyway, so.
Well, I do. I've told 10 ton a gazillion times. I mean, my basic, I'm going to just say entry into the game is 3, 6, 8, 11, and a
Gotcha.
field bet. 3, 6, 8, 11, and a field bet. That's my basic
Interesting.
entry.
Interesting. Good.
And so it works for me. I mean, it's 110 plus the field bet or whatever your bet, whatever the minimum bet is,
Right.
at risk to try to get. And I use that field bet to try to cover some other numbers.
Oh, there you go.
And so when I look at it, okay, let's just say I throw a 9. I'm going to cover the 2 and 12. So in my mind, instead of $25 out of my pocket, the 2 and the 12, now I've got $12.50
Right.
as an investment on that number instead of
Right.
25 because
There
the
you go.
casino just gave me 25. Right. If I'm on that play and they throw an 11, I will go ahead and press that 11. That 11 pays me 75 if I'm at a quarter level. And then my field bet paid. Right. So I can still put 75 in the rack and press the 11 one unit.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I play it.
Yeah. Good. That's good. I mean, I'm not looking to go play that, but when it comes up, I play it. Some of the guys want to play it. I'll go over there, type of thing. But if I have my choice, I'll never go to that game. I'd rather go to the regular craps table.
Just because you got less numbers. I mean, Crapless is a tough game. It's a different game. It's different than most people understand. And, you can play it like a regular table if you want, but you're going to get really mad when somebody hits 2 or 3 or 4 extremes.
It's all the numbers. There's more numbers across. And for some reason, I just don't like seeing that. I don't know why.
Well, it's very bankroll.
Right.
I mean, it's tough on your bankroll.
Could be.
If they don't hit.
That's right. That's right.
And I've always had this kind of an internal rule or mechanism. If I'm tossing and I can't hit one extreme, then I need to get off the table.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I'm just throwing insides, go over there to a regular table. Get off the one that's got all the numbers on it. Because
exactly.
I mean, those extra 4 numbers, that's tough on your bankroll if you don't hit them.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Huh.
So I'm still curious about your levels. And so I don't want to get, unless you want to, too deep into it, but I've always considered it and you've kind of changed my mind from what I've heard. I've always thought of it as a martingale type thing, right? But if you're going from 1 to 3, you're not martingale, and you're martingale and a half, right?
Well, yeah. Here's the deal. I mean, for me, the word martingale shouldn't even be a word anymore for the simple reason that you're going to hit your limit. You're only winning 1 unit at any level. There's no reward there for what you're doing. And, you're just simply doubling your bet. But using another, when I teach, there's 4 ways to bet craps. You got same bet, up as you win, up as you lose, and the regression. So I just substituted up as you lose for the word martingale. But I'm not just doubling to win 1 unit, your reward. So if I'm playing a quarter in the field and then I go to 75, I'm putting $50 in my rack. That's better
Right.
than a quarter. I mean, and that's how I structure it. But each method has their own, what I call levels of safety based on years and years. For example, my 4 and 10, 4 through 10, when you play the across and cover them all, I only have 3 levels because you're playing more numbers and the bankroll's more. We still have 24 ways to win, 6 ways to lose. It's still 4-1 in my favor on every roll. But that 3 levels, I mean, it's pretty easy to go 0.7 out, 0.7 out. Okay, a lot of people
Yeah.
do that. All right, so I mean, when you only got that 3rd level, plus if I'm going to use a regression and I start a little higher at the level 2 bet, if I win, it's great. But if I lose, now what? Most people, when they on their regressions and all these videos, they tell you then you regress, you hit 2 and you go down. Well, that's fine. But none of them tell you what they do if they 7 out.
That's correct.
They don't. They're going back the same bet, or are they going up? Anyway, with the 4 through 10 having only 3 levels, that's why I don't really play the 4 through 10. It's too much exposure. I'd rather see what I'm hitting than play them, or see what my dominant momentum is, then play some.
So it's not a fixed die in the wool
No.
kind of a thing. You're going to adapt
To what I'm playing.
maybe by the 3rd hand.
No,
or
I already
second hand.
know. I already know. You mean, what do you mean? What do you mean?
Well, a hand will be between come out and 7.
Right.
So I mean, you might have 4 tosses and a 7.
Right.
Then the second time you get the dice, you might have 3 tosses and a 7. At that point, you know where you're going to go if you haven't already decided.
Well, that's right. I mean, but I already know. I already know what my bankroll is for that session. I bring my chart. It's got what I do at level 1. I don't do it anymore because I know them, but what you do at level 1, what you do at level 2, how much you place at level 3. If the 4 hits, this is what you put in your rack. Now you go back to level 1 and start over. My 4 through 10 has 3 levels. A 5, 6, 8, 9, if you will, has 4 levels. My 6 and 8 has 5 levels. Then
all right, so you got different levels
different
based on the
methods.
different box numbers.
For different methods of play. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm either playing the 6 and the 8, the inside, or all of them. Okay, but I don't really play the inside. I don't play the 5, 6, 8, 9 because I choose to play the 4, 6, 8, 10 because it's less bankroll. I still have 4 levels. It's less bankroll and I get paid more because of the 4.
I like even numbers. I love playing even numbers.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So I mean, anybody that knows me, I mean, I only play the same 3 methods for the last 25 years. It's either the 6, 8 in the field, the 4, 6, 8, 10 in the field, or my 5, 6, 8 and the field when they're combined. That's what people call the iron cross, but I do it differently. Yeah. So I haven't changed nothing. That's been my MO for 25 years.
Well, nothing's changed about the basics of the game in all those years.
Right.
I mean, I've been playing it, like I said, since 91 or 4, whatever it was. So nothing's really changed. I mean, they've added bonus bets.
Right,
They've had they've added all these side bets, these circus bets, but the basics have never changed.
Right. Exactly.
So, and a lot of people lose more money on trying to feed those. If you start chasing bonus bets to get back what you've already lost, you need to go eat lunch.
Yeah.
I mean, you need to go do something else.
Yep.
I mean, I'll always say I enjoy playing a bonus table, but I always understand that bonus is just there as a bonus.
Yeah,
it's not there.
Like I said, I very seldom play the all tall, all small. Very seldom play it.
One of these days, I really want to whip the ass of the guy that invented the damn repeater bet.
You don't like the repeater bets? You love the repeater bets.
I like them, but there's none down here except There's one table in Biloxi that has it.
I'd rather play
And when
that than the ATS any day.
And when they brought it in on that table down in Biloxi, they put a whole lot of foam under that layout.
Did they really? That's too bad.
Yes, they did.
Huh.
And so I don't like it. And so I really cuss him every time because it was a decent table.
Yeah.
It wasn't the best table, but it was a decent table.
Yeah.
And then he talked him into putting that repeater bed in there, and I'm like, I'd love to kick his ass.
Yep, I like that bet.
Because they messed up a good table.
That's right. Anyway, huh?
Yeah, but so do you like the hard, firm tables where they crack when they land? I mean, I don't know what your home table's like.
Mine's kind of like Red Rock and Durango, I would say. You know, I mean,
Okay.
that's why maybe I like them, because I don't know if they're harder or softer, but mine's kind of medium, I'd say. It's more probably more toward hard than bouncy, but it's kind of like the others. I mean, I really.
I enjoyed playing that table at the Red Rock.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, I won there.
Yeah, there you go.
How can I not like it, right?
That's right.
But I found it to be, you got what you tossed. The table didn't change your toss. You got what you tossed. If you had a good toss, you got a good result. If you tossed a bad toss, you got a bad result. You know, so.
Yep.
I consider it to be a very fair table, and I would go back there anytime.
Yeah. Well, next time you come out, let me know. I'm 10 minutes.
I think I will.
10 minutes.
Yeah.
When's your next trip out here? When are you guys doing another thing?
October.
Well,
early October. Very first weekend of October is where my next deal is. So I'm going to come out a few days ahead of the weekend, I think.
Yeah, good. Okay, looking forward to it.
So let's try to get together and play some.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. So before we wrap up, I want to give you an opportunity to talk about your classes, and you've got coaches around the country now, correct?
Yeah, I just promoted Mike Rolacek, Sling, the gentleman who did that last video with me. He's now an instructor as well, and he's 5 minutes from my house, so he'll be taking some of the load off of myself. Hopefully, he just had shoulder surgery, so he's out of commission for probably about 6 more months. But he'll be teaching quite a bit, hopefully, at that time. So. But yeah, so they've been with me since day one. Trained them all. Very fortunate to have them. You know, what can I tell you? You know, it's
well, you got where their location. You got Mark Kilgore down in Tampa.
He's in Tampa. Then I got Randy Anderson in Utah. I got then they got Paulie P, but he's in Thailand.
He's traveling the world. Last I saw Paulie P, he was like in Thailand or Vietnam.
Yeah, he's going back. He's doing that, but he's got about another year left, and then he'll be playing craps everywhere, worldwide. He's ran into quite a few things overseas, but and then I got Larry Frank in Ohio, and then G-Dub, Gary Weaver in right out of Houston. So
yeah,
you know, everybody knows those guys. They play with every group around, you know. So
yeah,
but that's the difference. I mean, that's another thing is, you know, the group thing. And I told everybody a long time ago, that's now everybody knows why I don't do groups, because playing what we do, you know, advantage dice control, when we're relying on getting the dice right back, going to level 2, all that's out the door when you play a group. You know, you're not getting the dice back for 45 minutes. By that time you're cold or whatnot. And, you know, so what I do will not work. Well, we'll work. We'll play the don't side, obviously, or whatnot. But it's not geared for getting the dice right back. And, you know, what I do is geared for getting the dice right back, being 1 or 2 players at the table only, and getting in and getting out. That's it. So
if they want to hook up with those guys, do they need to go to your website or what have you? I don't know. How do people get in touch with Tony Leo?
Well, they just call me off my website or whatnot, or most of the time referral, whatever. And then when I get the call, if they're in that particular area, I'll tell them, why don't you call Larry, or why don't you call Gary? You know, da 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 da. You don't have to come out here. then
Right.
if they want to come out here, well, then obviously I'll set the class up with them. But hopefully by the end of the year, I've talked to you about this before. By the end of the year, I'm hoping that they're doing all the teaching, because I'm looking kind of to retire, and I just want to play. I'll still do my
Yeah.
workshops, because they're free, and I like seeing the guys and the whatnot, or the groups that my same guys that always come out. I'll still play with them and whatnot. But I want them to do the teaching. They can make a few bucks, and I just want to play. So. That's
Sounds
hopefully
great to
what
me.
I'm looking to do,
So they go to, is it thegamingpro.com?
Gamingpro.com, they can get me. They can also go to my other platform, which is called Wagemembers.com.
We haven't even mentioned wage, and I was going to ask you questions about
Oh,
that.
ask them, but they can. But Wage basically it's all the other all the other games. It's blackjack, craps, or there's craps up there too. Craps, baccarat, and roulette, and sports betting. And it's a private platform. There's over 50 videos up there. So if you want to learn how to sports bet, it's there. I break it down on how I make my picks, and I post them on Facebook too. I got guys who are betting sports who post them on our Wage Facebook page. But
Okay.
look at Gary Weaver. Gary, you can ask him. Gary makes thousands playing online baccarat from his pajamas in his house, in his pajamas from his house. Thousands a month playing
Can't
baccarat.
do that where I'm at. Alabama doesn't let you do it.
Yeah, well, you don't. You go offshore. You play like we use betonline.ag. A lot of them use Stake. A lot of them use DraftKings, whatever, and you can do it. They're all doing it. They all got. I'm not tech enough, but they're all using VPNs and this and that, and they're setting up their online accounts. So, and if you ask somebody in Wage, they'll tell you exactly how to do it.
Baccarat,
Blackjack, roulette,
roulette,
and all my craps videos are up there. The only
and
difference
crap.
is if you watch my YouTube video, you're getting the cake, but you're not getting the icing. When you watch Wage, it's A to Z. Make this bet, do this, collect, blah, blah, blah. Here's the method for roulette. Here's the method for baccarat. And if you'll notice now, a lot of the YouTubers are starting to incorporate all these other games. So,
I don't watch. I'm on YouTube. Obviously, this is going to be on
yeah.
YouTube. I watch almost nobody unless I want to go in and do a reaction and make fun of somebody. But
Well, that's one of the reasons I go there.
the reaction videos I've done have been the most popular thing I've probably ever come up with.
Oh yeah, I
because,
like them. I told you I like them. Yeah.
Yeah. So but I feel bad at some point. I'm like, do I really need to keep doing these? But
So let me.
you almost need to expose the fallacy of all the stupid strategies that are out there.
So let me say this. I mentioned to you earlier why I decided to sell my schools and get out of karate. It was for the main reason that everybody was worried about the quantity and not the quality. Okay.
Right.
That's the same reason I'm going to be getting out of the gambling environment as far as YouTube and forums and this, that, and the other, is because it's more about the same thing. It's more about the quantity, not the quality. Okay. And there's people out there that, obviously a lot of people think the same. There's people out there that should, they should be playing checkers, not craps. So,
absolutely.
but anyway.
I've played Baccarat a few times. I have been I'm a net winner.
Good.
So maybe I should never go back. But I had a friend of mine that used to be a really good craps player with me. He is probably 95% Baccarat. And so, he's gotten his thing. I mean, I never see him at playing craps, but he bets high limit. And I mean, he bets thousands and thousands. I mean, he's way above my level, but I did go sit with him. He said, I'll teach you a little bit about Baccarat, because I'd never played it before. So we went to the high limit room, and he told them, I'm going to bet, these numbers, this amount of money. and he's going to bet $25. They said, okay, because I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
I mean, so, and they didn't have any problem with that because his bets were so
Right,
big.
exactly.
I mean, he was betting
Mm-hmm.
$500,000 per game.
Mm-hmm.
But I was ecstatic that, I mean, but now he was a guy, he's always been a guy that read the screen, okay? I don't know if you want to call it a trend kind of a thing or what, right? Dealers hit, the dealers won 3 times. You've won 2, then the dealer wins 3, then you win 2. He'll look at that and see it, and he'll go, Ed, bet $100 on the dealer.
On the banker.
Oh, the banker.
Yeah.
Yeah, the banker.
Gotcha.
I'm sorry. Yeah, see, I don't even know the
Yeah.
terminology. I play it so little.
So
So,
couple things about Baccarat. I mean, first of all, if you did open up an online account, you could play with a live dealer online for 50 cents a hand, roulette and Baccarat. So, I mean, if from your own home if you want to. But anyway, Baccarat, Blackjack used to be my second game because I'm damn good at it. Okay, I'm a card counter and I can count cards quicker than any dealer in this town can deal. That's a fact, no question. Okay, but they've changed it a lot. They took away your 3-2 blackjack and now paying 65 and blah blah blah. You can't do this, you can't do this. So when I go play craps in the morning, lots of times the blackjack tables are just as empty as the craps tables. So after my session, I'll go over there maybe and play. I only play double deck. That's where they hold them in their hand, not out of the shoe.
right.
But,
Double deck.
Yeah, double deck.
Yep.
Okay, so because I can count, it's easy to count. You can't count the shoe game. But in any event, now I'm leaning and playing more Baccarat than Blackjack because I like the fact that I can do it from home. So I did a thing on Wage maybe a year ago where my goal was $40 a day, and I did it for a month. And at the end of that 30 days, I was like $1,248. And I was just logging in and making my bets. And then, then the money, that's what it ended up for the month. So I try to tell everybody how to do that because that's as far as I'm concerned, it's pretty easy money. But you got to have the same discipline as at the craps table. And length of play is a big factor in that game. Or roulette, any of them. So you just got to take that into consideration. But it's a 1-bet game. You're only making 1 bet. And it's as close to 50-50 as you're going to get. So looking at the board, all the Asian folks do that. They look at that board and they try and figure shit out. I mean, theoretically, you could just bet player every damn time using your up as you lose or up as you win, and you're going to pretty much win. It's just a matter of getting in and out. That's the thing. Don't give it back. So
all right, so that begs a question then. All right, so if I'm just say, because I'm not a Baccarat
right,
player.
I understand.
I mean, shit.
Baccarat is bank and player. That's it. You could call it.
That's it. So all right, so let's just say I'm betting. Let's just say I bet a $25
gotcha
player.
Okay.
And I lose.
Okay.
Do you go 75 or do you go to 50?
No. It depends on what you want to win on that win. Do you want to win a quarter or do you want to win $50?
I want to win 50, so I'm going to go 75.
Then you got to bet 75.
All right, so I lose again.
So that's what do you want to win?
I still want to win my 50.
All right, so you got to do 25 and 75. That's 100. So you got to bet 150.
Yeah. So
300.
You got to increase it.
Well, no, you don't.
More than 1 unit. A martingale would be 1 unit.
Yeah.
So you're trying to get.
And up as you lose, I'm saying. That's just one way of playing it.
So then if I win, then I'm going to go back down to base.
Sure, you put that away and you go back down. But I mean, up as you lose, that's just one way. I mean, lots of times when I play the field and craps or Baccarat, I'm using a 2-win parlay where I need 2 wins in a row. So I'm not really going up as drastic as an up as you lose. I'm just taking my winnings and putting it on. Now I let that ride for one more hand type of thing. So you can do that as well. So you don't have to be as aggressive as I am. Yeah, I have a team. I have Bruce and a guy by the name of H. They play every day at Palace Station, every single day. They flat bet, and you know what their win goal is? They play $100 units. One win. One
One win.
win. They just drove 20 minutes, parked their car. They go in, make $100, and they get out. And they're playing the stadium Baccarat, where the dealers are live. They're playing stadium, not the live dealers at the table. They're playing live
Okay.
stadium Bac, the machines. So,
Hmm.
and they're there every day, and they're
But
flat.
again, they live there. They can drive over there, make $100,
That's
wherever
right.
their win goal is, and then go back home and eat
they're both
breakfast.
almost 80 years old. So
Okay, that's their social hour.
that's their social hour, and they make their money, and they're happy as you know. And they could never play it the way I play it, and I could never play it the way they play it. So
I would think I would want to win at least 20%.
I mean, when you,
I mean, that would be the goal.
yeah,
I may
well,
not
yeah, that
get
would be
there.
that's my goal in anything. But they're doing that because they're just winning one time. They're winning $100, and they're only buying in for maybe 500. So I mean, they got to.
So then
I think I don't.
blackjack's a different animal.
Well,
I mean,
blackjack.
you mentioned it,
That's your
and I
split,
can't,
your double down.
I totally admit
Yeah,
I'm too stupid to play blackjack.
blackjack's a great game. I mean, uh, I've been barred from 3 casinos playing blackjack. I've only been barred from 1 playing craps. Figure that out. So
Yeah. Well, I can't count cards.
yeah, you could. It's real easy.
Well, I could if I learned, but I don't want. I just
Because in what we do, you're only going up and down by 2. So if you're starting to give you an example, if you start at 21, your count's either going to be 19 or 23. And you're looking for the probability of what that next card is, whether it's a low card or a high card, and you bet accordingly. That's all it is. So
and then roulette.
same thing. Roulette, you hit it and get it, you get in and get out. And again, if you're playing the outside bets, it's a 50-50 game.
So when you say outside bets,
The
are you talking about the dozens, or
no,
you
no, no,
talking
no,
about
no, just the red, the black, the odd, the even, and the low and the high. Okay, the first 18 or the second 18, the red or the
I got you.
50. Those
Are those all even? Those are all even money bets,
even money
correct?
bets. Yeah. But then the only other ones that we play are the dozens, and what's called the line bets. Never just a single number. I don't do that. So again, we're playing what's coming up the most or whatever, and again, your attack is just get in and get out.
I've always been of the opinion, and I am not a roulette
Go ahead.
aficionado by any chance,
we're
but I've always been of the opinion that groupier, which is a weird word, can hit quadrants if they want to.
okay. You're
More or less. I mean, I'm not necessarily if they want to, but they have a tendency.
right.
I mean, because they're doing the same thing all, for whatever how many hours, and there's certain quadrants that they seem to hit. I don't know. They can't pick out black and red. I mean, there's nobody that good on that kind of a thing. But there seems to be a quadrant.
They can be. I agree with that. They can do that, and that's part of your strategy. Should be a quadrant. Yeah. So there's lots of methods that we use. Covers like the first half of the wheel. Okay. So, but you got to remember the layout is not the same as the wheel. Okay. So it doesn't.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
So
the wheel is totally different.
Exactly.
And it's always black, red, black, red, black, red.
Exactly.
But the numbers are like
right.
1 is over here, and 2 is on the other opposite side of the wheel.
Yeah. And it's going back.
3
and
is
forth
here,
like
4
that,
is there, 5 is here, 6 is there. I mean, it just kind of goes this
Yeah.
way.
Roulette's a good game. I used to play it years ago. We did a lot of different things years ago, but I call it power strike, where at the time, even the baccarat tables, they were up and down you read them bank player going up and down like roulette. Now it's sideways. But when it was up and down, and the roulette scoreboards were the same, up and down, only it was red black type of thing instead of bank player. We would stand, we would buy our chips, because if you go to a roulette table and you buy in, they're going to give you the colored chips you need for that particular table. You can't take those
Right.
chips and go to the next roulette table. So we would buy
Correct.
our chips, our blacks, our greens, and our reds, and our whites, and we would look at the board. And when we seen a play, we would put our money down, collect our money, and go back and stand and look at the boards again. And we did it in such a way. For example, we did it at the Orleans, Gold Coast, where there's lots of Bach and lots of roulette, and we just look at the tables. You really can't do it anymore, but we'd look at the tables, just put our money down, and continue our walk. We didn't sit down anywhere, and we did that for about an hour, and we hit our goal. We did the same thing in craps when before I was doing what I do now. We would come here, and we would literally walk the strip, playing the 4 through 10, playing random shooters, and take 1 win per table or 1 win per shooter. And we would walk from, at the time, I don't know, it was Bally's, not even Bally's now, it's a horseshoe. But before Bally's,
Yeah.
I think it was MGM or something, I can't remember. But we would start there, and we'd go from there to the Cromwell, which was then Buffalo Bills or Wild Bills or something like that. And then we'd go to Flamingo, Imperial Palace, Harrah's, then what? The Palazzo, Venetian, and we'd take 1 or 2 wins per table or per shooter. Then we'd cross the street and we'd go to Treasure Island, Mirage, Circus, and then to Caesars. And by that time we had our 20, 30, 40 wins. Our average win at the time was maybe $10. So we're making 200, 300, and we're just walking the strip. And the crowd, more
Yeah.
crowded the table, the better, because we'd actually qualify it. We'd make sure, there's chips on the table and people are high-fiving or whatever, and we'd come right in, 64 across. If we lost, we go to the next casino or table, whatever, 172 or whatever across, and then the third level, $960 or something, and we're done.
Yeah.
So for us to lose, we'd have to walk into that table right then and there and get hit. So that, when I started doing that, I really saw the advantage of the hit and run.
Yeah.
So
Your mantra, your tagline, whatever you want to call it, is get in, get out, or hit and run, or
I got
get
a few
your
of them.
deal
Yeah,
and
hit
get going.
it and get it. As far as that one,
Hit it and get
hit
it.
it and
Yeah.
get it, baby. That's it. Yeah.
That's it. So and most people don't have the discipline to do that.
Or they're not in an area that they can do it.
Yeah, they're like me. They're stuck down there for 3 nights or 2 nights. So then you're like, okay, I got to play this differently and
If you
smarter.
could do
gotta
it, would you? If you could get there early and be solo?
If I could, I don't know.
right.
I don't know. I can't tell you that I would. I can't tell you. I cannot say that, because I do and I enjoy the game too much.
Yeah.
And I always want to cut the casino's throat.
Yeah, no, I know. I do too.
So, but if I retired in Biloxi, for example, then I could play differently than I play when I go down there for the weekend.
Exactly. Yeah.
Totally different. I wouldn't even play on the weekends.
Right. Yeah, I don't.
But then I'd have then I would have to cut grass and do all that stuff.
You get a
that I have to. There was a time I was looking at buying a home down there just to have a place to hang out. And I was like, why in the hell would I spend this kind of money when I can go stay for free and eat for free?
Yeah.
So, but I got a friend of mine where he's been looking, not we, but I've been helping him look. We're looking at a place to put up a boys club, if you will.
Gotcha.
Down there to do some teaching and hanging out and barbecuing and that kind of stuff, where we can just get some groups in.
Yeah.
Because I do enjoy playing with, I'm going to say 4 to 6 people.
Right.
where you can go and attack. You can scout out some tables, find out who's strong on certain tables, what's their best positions on those tables. And you can kind of go in as a group and kind of sneak in there and then get in, hit them a lick, and then get the heck out. Well, I do enjoy that play.
That would be
lot.
the ultimate if it would work out that way all the time.
Because not everybody's going to have a good roll on every table. But if you've got 4 to 6,
yeah, because go like this, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
As long as you're coming up
That's
as you're going down, then
Yeah.
all of a sudden you hit something big and you
Yeah.
go, okay, it's time to go. It's time to go cook barbecue.
Yep,
That's
right.
what I want to do.
Yeah, good.
That's what I want to do.
There's nothing wrong with that.
What else? Anything else you want to say about how people should get in touch? I know you've got a Facebook page
Could,
that you're
just call the gamingpro.com, wagemembers.com. So if you're interested in wage, I got 8 positions left. I'll be at 100 members, and from day one, that's what I wanted to get was 100 members. So if you're interested in that, just take a look at it and get with me. That's about it. Other than that, my workshop, my next one's May 17th. It's full. It's been full. And then I have another one, I think, in maybe October. But that's it. Other than that, it's, I'm still playing a couple days a week, but I'm always home betting. My sports betting is I'm making a little bit of money there. And then online Baccarat, I'm making a little bit of money there as well. So
sports betting is a totally different thing.
I do the same thing. I have 4 levels. Ask yourself a question.
I don't doubt. Yeah, you got to stay.
Do you think you, and I don't do any college yet. I know you're big into college, aren't you?
Yeah.
I don't do any college.
Yeah, that's always been
I
my
only
thing
do
is
pro.
college.
But my theory, whether it's hockey or baseball or whatever, can you pick 1 out of 5? 1 winner out of 5. Whether it's a favorite or whatever. Can you pick 1 out of 5? And again, that's pretty much the premise we use. So, and our first bet's $25. The whole bankroll is $2,000 to $2,500. So, I mean, it's really not that difficult. You're going to have bad days because they're people, they're kids, and that type of thing. But so far, so good. That's all I can say at this point, so keep doing it.
Very nice.
Yeah. But I like it.
My sports betting is strictly entertainment.
Right.
And I'm going to bet something stupid during this parlay that I'm going to do.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. So I don't
because I can't, I'm not there.
Right.
So if I got to drive 4.5 hours to go pick up my bet, I want it to be worth driving 4.5 hours for.
So can't you open up an account with your sports book right there in the casino from where you live?
I could, but then when I cross that state line, unless they know where you're at.
Yeah. See, I'm hooked up with Station and Boyd on my phone, so I just make if I want the Dodgers, I just hit it. I
can't do that. I can't do that here. I mean, if I was crafty, clever,
right, you could do it. Yeah,
VPN guy or something, maybe I could, but I can't do it. I can go to MGM Sports, for example, and I can look at all the bets, and I do this before I go down there, like during football season.
You know who you're going to bet, and you buy the ticket there.
I sit there and I figure out how I'm going to bet it, and then I go down and I buy it. And when I get there, then I just go to the sports book and bet it.
And then when you come home, if they win, you got to go back.
Yeah, and I go, hey, honey, I got to go pick up that $4,000. Right. So, but it's all, and I do parlays.
Yeah.
For that reason.
Yeah.
And parlays are tough.
Yeah. We do a parlay too, but it's only 2 teams. We don't really go any more than that.
No, I'll do 4 to 7 teams.
My neighbor does like 10, so.
I had a buddy of mine, and I'll let you go here in a minute, but a buddy of mine, that we were talking about the Baccarat player. He's the one who kind of got me into, he's like, we can do this to build our bankrolls. And he's really good at it. I'm not. I mean, he's really good at it. but he texted me one Sunday night, and he sent me a copy of his ticket. And this ticket had started like on Wednesday.
Right.
With European soccer, right? So it had soccer, and then it went into Sunday NFL. I mean, it was like a 9-teamer or something.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
It was like crazy. And so everything had won, and he's still sitting there with a Monday night game sitting on that ticket.
After he won all the others.
Yeah, everything's a winner. That ticket was going to pay him $120,000. He said, "What would you do?" I said, "I would either scrape up every dollar I could find, or I'd go get a mortgage on my house tomorrow, and I would hedge that sucker." Yes, you got to, I mean, $120,000 or zero. You got to hedge it.
Yeah. But how you hedge it? You don't know what's in baseball or whatnot. You don't know how
Yeah,
would
but
you,
this was football, and it was,
yeah.
the last game was like, I don't know, this team.
So you'd have to
minus
bet the other side of it or something.
You got to go in there and lay a heavy bet.
Yeah.
That you're satisfied with, even if that bet loses, then you got the 120 less.
Well, he probably
less
did
the
first
hedge.
half and second half or something like that.
Yeah, so he went in. He kind of took my advice. He went to the casino and he did what you just said. He went 2 or 3 half. I mean, he played different things during the game to hedge it up.
Yeah.
The hedges won. The parlay ended up losing.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
So,
there's all kinds of angles you can do. I bet small. Like I said, my first bet maybe $25 or $50, and I don't even watch the games. And I have a limit. I only bet like today. I mean, I don't know if you could see this. These are my baseball bets for today, right here.
Okay.
I bet 4 teams each day. Each team, or 4 lines, if you will, represents a different level per se.
Okay.
So I'm basically going, each team is independent of the others, just like I do in anything else. So and if I, and like I said, as long as I can win 1 out of 4, 1 out of 5, I'm ahead, depending on how I structure it. So.
Very nice.
Yeah, and it's
all right. Well, anything else you got that you want to cover that I haven't covered?
Ed, whatever you want to do. It was a pleasure. I mean, it was.
It's been my pleasure. I thank you so much for coming on. I'm going to hit the stop button. Hang on for a sec.
All right. Okay.